In this video, we're going to start a series of 4 videos in which we're going to quickly look at the remaining libraries that come along with the Java Standard Tag Library. So we've already looked at all the core tags in detail. Those are the ones we might use most frequently. But there are some other ones that we talked about as well, such as formatting, SQL, XML, and some JSTL functions. And so the next 4 sessions are going to include the same code, and we'll just walk through each one of those tag libraries very quickly. So for the next 4 sessions, we'll start with JSTL_other predefined tag libraries.war, and that will contain all the code. So once you have it loaded once, you won't need to reload it for the remaining videos in the rest of this section. So get that up and running, and what you'll see is there are just some simple pages. We're not doing the same thing that we were doing before, simply so that we can just look at some of the capabilities of the tags that exist. So in this lesson, we're going to look at the formatting of the actual tag for formatting. With that, we're going to go ahead and look at the formatting.jsp page. But just real quickly, you can see the other pages are here. Index is completely blank. We have formatting functions, SQL and XML. Those are our 4 that we're looking at. We have a footer with a menu, and we have an error handler. And we have a web XML, which is simply going to contain our DB credentials, a URL that we have to use, and some error handling passing on. So there's not as much stuff here as before either. Let's look at formatting then. So we're not going to take a look at absolutely everything that exists in the formatting library, but we're just going to brush through some of the more common formatting tags that you might actually need to use or see in code. So here, what we note is that right away, we have to add another tag library as a directive on the top of our page, and this one's for formatting. FMT is the prefix, and that goes along with the exact same FMT that follows the JSTL in the same URI that we've been using for core. Now it's just going to be formatting. We'll see that very commonly for the remaining libraries. So here we have a variable we're just setting into a test date, which is just going to be June 6, 1944 at 1:08 p.m. and 27 seconds. Now I know that date is deprecated, but I'm still going to use it for our demonstration purposes here because it's a very easy way to get a date object that I can format. And we have a test number, which is 2.99. You could put any number in there that you wanted to try, and you can change some of these other formats if you want to try some of the other ones that you might see in a reference online or some other way. So all I've done is made a table. For most of these, you'll see the same layout. You'll have a tag and an example. And the tag will be what we're looking at here. We're looking at format number with currency, and here we're looking at format number with pattern, percent, pattern again on date there, and then we'll look at some difference on the dates here in a moment. But what you can see here is that our tag is going to contain the format prefix, just like we would expect. And here we're formatting number. So all of these are formatting numbers. It's just different ways to do it. So here we're going to set the type to be a currency, and we'll pass in that 2.99. Here we're going to take the number, we're going to set a pattern to be 4 numbers, a decimal place with 3 numbers, and then we're going to show the exponent of that number. So times 10 to the whatever power. And then we'll pass in that same 2.99, which again might be more valuable to pass in a larger number there to see some different values. Here we're going to look at just what's the percent, and that will just multiply by 100 and create that as a percentage. So if we had 0.002, it would be 0.2%. Now we have 2.99, so we'll have 299%. Here we're going to do some formatting dates. So we have format dates for all of these. And the thing to note about formatting dates is we can have 3 different types. We can have just the date, just the time, or both, and that will display in the actual output of that variable. And then we have a long, medium, and short value for each of the date and time styles. So you can mess around with each of those if you want to see some of that in more detail, and you can kind of get a gist from what's going on just from seeing here. And you can mix and match that any way you want to in order to get the output that you're looking for. And the same test date will be used for all of these. And of course, just a little caveat at the bottom that's going to tell us, yes, there are some other formats that we can use, such as time zone, set locale, request encoding, etc. And you could look those up or research them if needed. But these are the more common ones, formatting numbers and formatting dates. So let's go ahead and run this, formatting.jsp, and let's watch what happens. We can see our numbers are formatted here to a currency. Here we have 2.99 times 10 to the 0, 299%. Here's our date listed out with a pattern. Here's our date with a long date but a short time. Here's a medium date with a long time, which includes the time zone. And here we have just the time, and here we have just the date. So you can see our formatting is very nice. Everything's in place. Our tags are used very easily to create the format that we're looking for our output. And again, there's others that are not shown here that you could look up more if you want to learn more about the formatting tags.